if he has ASD level 1, as opposed to just being accused of having it, he will tend to turn his emotions way down, not completely off, but it's come from many years of, honestly, emotions getting in the way of their logical thinking. So it's not that he doesn't have any room for emotions, but in most cases, if he were to be honest, in most cases, he doesn't see any need for emotions. He might even go so far as to say they just kind of get in the way of completing tasks because he is very task-oriented. So his motto might be remove the emotions and accomplish the task more efficiently. The emotions are messy and they get in the way of logical thinking. The NTYs in here are emotions experts. So you see there's one hell of a contrast there. So there is a huge disconnect between the NT wife and the ASD husband. You're living it. And they also deal with their stress differently. And so there has been relationship stress for how long? Year, 5, 10? So when there is, and everybody in here is experiencing relationship stress due to the neurodiverse difficulties. The NT wife, when she's dealing with stress, she will tend to, not 100% of the time, but she will tend to implode. And that could look like sulking or depression, just to grab two out of the air real quick. He will tend to explode. And I'm not saying he never does shutdowns, but his preferred method as an anxiety reduction strategy, his preference will be to explode most of the time. During relationship stress, she will want to talk about the problems, and she'll want to share and talk about feelings. And she prefers connection during crisis, if we want to call it crisis. He doesn't. He's out of touch with his feelings, and he's way out of touch with your feelings. So if you want to have feelings discussions, you've automatically lost it being some kind of resolution. He's not going to want to talk about the problems. He doesn't want to share emotions, and he prefers, quite honestly, most of the time prefers disconnection during crisis. During crisis, she will want to bond, associate, seek support. He will want to disassociate, and he may end up doing some version of a meltdown or a shutdown. The moral to this story is you can see why there is this issue going on. And I'm not trying to get him off the hook when I say this. But if somebody asks me, which they have not, what is the number one out of the list of problems, and there are many, what is the number one issue? If there is a root cause, what would it be? It would be his anxiety around relationship difficulties. If he has ASD level 1, he has mind blindness issues, emotions blindness issues, executive function deficits, all of which create huge anxiety. What I run into most often, if he were to be honest with himself, he often feels confused and insecure in the relationship. This causes a lot of anxiety. He's always in the process of alleviating anxiety, either with a shutdown or a meltdown or just staying busy outside of the relationship. But unfortunately, and now this is the message to the guys in here, your anxiety reduction strategies have, in most cases, made your anxiety worse because you just kick the can down the road. And so all of these things relationship difficulties that you might have been trying to avoid, they accumulate. They don't disappear. They build up and they pile up. And she gets more resentful and bitter and complaining, etc. And why wouldn't she? Which then makes you, the guy on the spectrum, feel even more unsafe in the relationship. And so we get into this loop. The point being, you can understand why we have a problem. It shouldn't be a surprise, nor should you feel like either one of you should feel like you've done something wrong, or that you are stupid, or that you failed, or that you should have done better, and all of this and that, because you didn't have when things were at their worst and you didn't know what was really going on, you were just doing the best to tread water. You're doing the best that you know how to do at the time.